Hey everyone, long time no see. This is John, and in front of us we have our BCA upward Auburn arms lowered budget AR15 DMR style rifle. In this video, I'm going to show you how I plan to, on a low budget, refinish this stainless steel barrel in flat black using just simple Rust-Oleum high heat primer and paint. Now, the total cost on those is about $22. Well, it was $22 for me, so that keeps our budget for refinishing this barrel at under $25. And there's enough in those cans I can use them for some other projects. Let's go ahead and get started by removing the things that we do not need on here in order to paint this barrel. First up, we don't need the red dot sight, so I'll take that off. Secondly, we'll remove the lower, as we're not painting the lower. So there that goes. And now we will work on removing the screws from the handguard, because we don't really need to take the sights off the bipod. We can just pull the handguard off all as one unit. So let's zoom in a tad. Now the reasons why, well, there are a couple different reasons why I would like to paint the stainless steel barrel flat black. One, I'm not a big fan of stainless steel barrels in general, especially on a black firearm. Much rather it be black. I know some people like two-tone. I myself just not that big on it. And there we go. Not only that, I recently purchased a mini Y-comp muzzle brake like this, the same that is on my Ban Era AR15. I've done a few videos on this. I really like this gun. It's a Bushmaster. This is a Bushmaster mini Y-comp muzzle brake. You can get it from numerous gun parts for like $36 plus shipping. And it's a good muzzle brake. I really like it. Some other people don't tend to like it when I'm shooting my Bushmaster. But the Bushmaster has a much shorter barrel. So I'm curious as to whether the muzzle blast that people experience from the side will be quite as bad with such a long barrel as we have here, or if it'll be lessened a tad, or maybe a whole lot. Maybe we'll barely have any. Now, part of why I wanted to do that is because I really like that muzzle brake, and for $36, that's pretty cheap. And the other reason why is, although I like Bear Creek Arsenal's products, I've had limited problems with them. Actually, only one problem, which is on my buddy's 7.62 by 39 upper. The charging handle, the side charger and the charging handle kept going to work its way out. But something I don't care for about these BCA uppers is the flash hider device. I don't know why. I just think it looks kind of cheap. I don't really think it does much. It probably does, but I just don't really care for it. So I thought it'd be a good addition to this heavy barrel, which I really like this barrel. It's really nice and heavy. Would be to put a fancy muzzle brake on it, and one that I liked, and one that I could get for less than $40. So now that we've got that off, let's go ahead and set it up on our magazines here just to keep it up off the table. We're going to have to do some prep. We're going to clean the barrel off with some soapy water, and then rinse it off with some just regular water, and then use some solvent to get any remaining oil or grease off of it. Now the first step in our prep will be to use some soapy water on just some standard paper towel, and do that. Now I'm gonna take and just rub down the whole barrel. This will help to remove any chunks of anything, any grease that might be on it. Now you could do this as like more of a bath or something of that nature, but I think that this will do just fine for what we need it to do. Now you're gonna have a hard time getting any finish in between this gas tube and the barrel, but that's okay. It's all under the handguard at that point. And we're going more for an aesthetic than for necessarily any sort of protective coating, because stainless steel doesn't really need more protection per se. Now we've done that, put my greasy hand on it. Going to take another paper towel, and if you look here, you can look at that. You can see, well, there you go. You can see there's quite a bit of just dirt, powder, that sort of thing on the outside of it. That looks like a little piece of brass. You probably can't see it, but anyway, now we will take our water, not for drinking, put onto another clean paper towel. And these are used saline bottles. I wear contact lenses, and if you wear contact lenses, you probably go through a lot of these. I find a lot of cool uses for them, from soapy water to oil to squirting people with them because they don't like it. There are a lot of fun uses for used saline bottles. So now that we've done this once, use the other side of it. Do it again. Making sure that I don't see any more soapy bubbles on it. I'm gonna go ahead and grab another. And I did wash my hands before I did this, so I minimized the amount of oils that were on my hands. Take another one, put some water on it, because I can still see some, looks like, no, we're good. I don't see any more soapy residue on it, just kind of a watery residue, so should be good there. Now, take this dry paper towel, dry it all off. There we go. Yeah, that's exciting. Okay, now that we've gotten that all done, going to grab a lint-free cloth and some solvent. Kind of let that dry for a second before that. Also, I want to make the point while I'm here, I've already put the correct amount of shims in here to align the mini Y-Comp muzzle brake, and I'm going to leave the spiral cut flash hider on here and paint with that on there to protect the threads from the paint, but with the shims on there already, that way they'll be kind of painted. They won't look so, I don't know, they won't give that two-tone, well, yeah, two-tone, but it won't give that ring look at the end. Now that that's probably air dried enough, oh, I spilled some solvent all over the table. That's good. It's good. The cloth needed cleaned anyway. Then I'm just gonna wipe the barrel down like so, trying to get everywhere that I can. Now, another step that you would want to do on stainless if it were smooth, actually if you're going to paint this, let's say you wanted to paint it correctly, where it's smooth here, you'd want to rough that all up. So that way it took to the paint took to the steel better, had something to kind of grab to. But in this case, the stainless steel barrel itself already has a texture to it, so I don't really feel necessary to sand it or add any more texture for the paint to grab to. Okay, now that we've gotten that all finished up, wipe the solvent off my hands. Maybe use some water. It's well, it's not a super toxic solvent, so we should be fine. Should be fine. Now we need to mask off the parts that we don't want to paint. So we'll start off with the gas tube. We don't want to paint the gas tube. The gas tube gets very hot, hotter than the barrel, so we don't really want to paint it. In order to mask this the easiest way I could think of, I have straws. Let's cut this bendy part out. I don't think the bendy part is our friend. I'm going to take the straw, just slit it down the side, and wants to roll up on me like a fruit roll up. Worse than that. There we go. I'm going to roll it, slide it right onto the gas tube. Maybe. Yeah, that worked out. Try to put the seam towards the bottom. There we go. Now we need And it looks like one more, probably leave the bendy part on it. So, slid her right down the side without going through both sides. You'll encounter a little resistance there in the bendy portion. Just be careful. Now you can also do this with scissors, safety shears, or I don't know, razor blade. Whatever you have handy, whatever is available. You don't have to use a Benchmade knife. Be a lot cooler if you did though. That's not necessarily true. A lot of people don't necessarily like Benchmade. So there we go. I'm going to kind of slide those into each other so they overlap. A little human centipede action. I don't know if that's appropriate or not. There we go. Now we've covered the gas tube. Oh, just put my hands right on that part that I just cleaned. There we go. As you can see, that covers it up pretty well. Now, in order to cover our receiver, I have a paper bag. I'm going to take our paper bag and I'm going to cut a hole right in this area. Well, not a hole, a slit. Right in the middle. Again, you can do this with a lot of different things. Although be careful, don't want to hurt yourself. Or the paper bag. Now you don't have to use a paper bag. You can do this a lot of different ways. Just the way I'm choosing to do it. Wouldn't it be funny if I took my hand out and like my fingers were going? That wouldn't be funny. That'd not be funny. Also, you'd be able to tell. Okay. Now I'm gonna slide our barrel through our paper bag. Try not to touch anything too much. Right up to here. And you might say, oh, well, you're not going to get the end of the barrel there too well. Maybe, but I am going to add tape and knock over my saline bottle of water. Another reason why these are handy, unless you actually try to pour out of them, they don't really drip a whole lot, just a little bit. And you know, just covering the table with solvent, water, whatever. That's what the table's for. Now I've got some just regular blue masking tape here. And I'll pull myself a piece off. And try to not get my head in the shot too much. Pull this all the way back to the barrel nut, best as I can. Then I'm just going to wrap it. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to use these magazines like this, but I've done it now, so gotta roll with it. Like I said, I just want to make sure that I don't get paint onto the receiver or the action nut. I guess I didn't mention the action nut. I don't really want the action nut, the barrel nut. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about there. Anyway, there we go. Now I'm gonna flip this over and we'll mask it up a little better here. As you can see, the paper bag is a little far forward. No, here, probably couldn't see that well. There you go, a little far forward. But again, I'm not that concerned with how we look towards the back end. It's a lot more about the front end. But still, I don't want it to look bad. Okay. Push that back. There we go. It's actually pretty good right there. Now I'm going to use a little more tape to wrap up the rest of the receiver, just to make sure the paper bag stays relatively tight against the receiver. Just kind of makes it easier for handling and all that good stuff. Then, as exactly as I planned in this moment, the magazines fell over to lower it closer to the table. No, that just happened by chance. and was absolutely unnecessary. So I'm gonna wrap the back of this up. There we go. And we're ready for paint. Now, as I said, I'm gonna use this Rust-Oleum high temp primer, high temp paint. It recommends that you shake the can for, what is it, 60 seconds, I believe. I believe it said 60 seconds. Wow, the rest of the table looks like a mess. Let's pick that up real quick. I don't like that. Yeah, that's fine there. Move this to about hard. That's perfect. So, anyways, it says once you hear the ball shake, to shake it for 60 seconds before you start spraying. So, let's go ahead and give it 60 seconds. Okay, that should be 60 seconds. Now the can recommends on there to make sure you keep it 8 to 10 inches away from your surface. And we're not going to be able to do this just because I don't have an oven big enough. But it does recommend for complete hardening that you should bake this, and it has a process for baking after you've applied both finishes. But right now we're just going to put the primer on, put a couple coats of primer on, then we'll move on to the other finish. So. Okay, let's go outside to a well-ventilated area like you should whenever you're painting anything. Now, like I said, we're going to hold the can 8 to 10 inches away from the barrel as we paint. We'll do one light coat, wait a couple minutes, come back, do another light coat, wait a couple minutes, and come back and do another light coat. So let's go ahead and do this. Now I'm going to roll the barrel. That looks a lot thicker than it actually is. It's actually pretty thin. Now you can kind of see it there on the gas block. I'm going to roll it over to the bottom. Okay. Now, like I said, we are outside, so don't mind the cars. Now I'm going to go ahead and let this sit for a few minutes. We'll come back and we'll spray it down again. Here goes the next coat. Here goes our final coat of primer. Roll it, go this way. Probably should have gone the other way. And okay, well, there we go. That is the primer. We'll come back in about an hour and we'll do the paint. And as darkness rapidly approaches, let's go ahead and try to get this thing painted before the end of the night. Again, 8 to 10 inches away, light coats, we'll do a few of them, and then we'll let it dry for 24 hours and we'll come back and take a look. Well, we'll actually be back in the basement then, but we'll take a look at it then. Okay, rolling. And on that, we'll be back in a few minutes. Now we're back for coat 2, which will probably be the last one that I record, as it's now getting pretty dark out here and I don't really have a good light outside to use. So I'll see you back at the table and we'll see how it looks when it's all done. Okay, well, see you in a day or so. Now we're back here at the table after 2 days, which, although I wanted to get back here in 1 day, 2 days is pretty good considering how difficult it's been for me to get videos made recently. So before we unwrap it, let's go ahead and bring it up towards the camera so we can take a better look at the finish. Kind of see how it looks, see how even it is. It's pretty even. Pretty happy with how it looks. Oh. I mean, the flash hider here on the end, if you notice when I was painting it, I was just allowing that to roll on the wood because, again, this is coming off to get replaced. But it doesn't look bad. It looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and take our straws off our gas tube and drop it on the table. Also get paint off the straws onto the table. And go ahead and take our paper bag off. You can just rip it unless you really are on such a tight budget that you need to reuse this paper bag. And although I'm not going to get to this in a bit, I do believe in doing things on a budget as much as you can. There we go. Look, did not get back here by the barrel nut very well. But like I said when I was taping it all off, I'm not really that concerned about this portion of it. Although, I'll be honest, I kind of wish I'd done a bit better job there. That's okay. First time I've done it, now I know better. So now you know better. It's part of why I do these videos. Let's go ahead and take the flash hider off of here. Just unscrews. I didn't really have it that tight, just tight enough. Try to make sure none of the shims, one of the shims came off. Put those back on. And then we will screw our Bushmaster Mini Y Comp muzzle brake on. See how that looks. Okay. Now I will tighten that in a moment. Yeah, it looks okay. Now go ahead and slap the handguard back on as well. Pretty simple, just slides right on. Get it aligned. There we go. Now it's on. Throw the screws back in. Well, I won't throw them back in. That would be silly. I'll screw them back in. You know, if I'm lucky, I can knock this magazine down again. And I can drop it on the table maybe 4 times. Now, that, no, those are actually pretty close to being threaded all the way in there. Not very long screws, so. And normally I would tighten these down actually in a little bit of a different order. I'd actually go crisscross applesauce, like you do on a tire, but that's more the reason why. I mean, maybe theoretically it torques it down better, I don't know, but I doubt it. I doubt it's really necessary. You could probably just tighten them all and it'd probably be relatively okay. I mean, I guess it could put different pressure or different forces on this handguard, but you know, this is a budget upper, and I like this handguard. It's decent. It's not any sort of a problem. It's done well for me, but I don't think that it's exceptionally high quality handguard. It's not bad. It's good. Don't take that the wrong way. It is good, but a budget rifle is a budget rifle, and you have to accept the limitations of that. If not, then don't build a budget rifle. Build a very expensive rifle, because those are cool too. And there we go. Handguard's on. I think it looks pretty good. Zoom out a bit while I grab the lower so we can see what that looks like. There you go. Now I got all of that in the shot. Let's grab the lower, slide it on. Yeah, that's about as wide as I want to go. So, because there's a mess all over the table here. Speaking of a mess, if you watched all the way through me cleaning the barrel, and I realized afterwards, right before I made this segment, how much of that segment was off camera, just because I didn't get it very well on camera. Again, you just basically use paper towel, cloth, wipe the barrel like this, make sure you get in between the gas tube. It's pretty simple stuff. But regardless, I noticed that a lot of that was off camera, and I apologize for that. And if you want me to make another video where I show you how to clean it in more detail, I can. Although I won't be painting it again because it looks like it's pretty well done. And for $25 or less than $25 for the paint and other materials, I think I probably had about $25 total in refinishing this barrel from stainless steel to this nice primer black. I don't know, I still think that the muzzle brake looks a little off compared to the primer black or flat black paint, but I think it looks a lot better than it would with the stainless steel. So let's go over to the gun corner and I'll wrap this all up. Now that we're over here in the gun corner, we can get kind of a better look at the rifle overall. You know, get kind of an idea for what we think of it. I like it. And when you compare it to, say, the finish on our Bushmaster M4, it's a little duller, a little flatter, but similar. It's actually kind of similar to the finish on the mini wide count muzzle brake on here. Regardless, I like it, and we'll see how it holds up over time. And I'm happy to get this project done. And something I wanted to bring up while we were over here, part of why I want to come over here as well, is to say, well, for all of you who stayed this long, which probably is not very many, thank you. Thank you for staying to the end of the video. I appreciate it. And not just that, all the people who do watch my channel, I appreciate that you do. And that's the reason why I do it. I don't make any money from this channel. I don't really have any prospects, especially given YouTube's kind of not so friendly attitude towards gun channels. But I enjoy making videos, and I'll continue to make videos. And since it's been kind of difficult for me to get videos made over the last few months-ish, I did want to say thank you today. And by completing this project, I can get some other videos I've been meaning to get done, and I can start working on some other projects that have needed to get done. So again, thanks, and whether you've been here a while or you just came here today, I hope to see you again.